Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing something super simple, but it's got one of those kind of high emotional value types of topics. Well, I'm talking about gap filling in your bases. Now, fantasy bases, the old square ones, they didn't have a whole bunch of room in the base itself in that slot there. So the slot at the bottom of the models would actually fill that up fairly nicely, and you would actually have a fairly kind of full thing. So whenever you put gravel or basing on, it really wouldn't be that big of a deal. It'd kind of go right on, no problems. But in the new kind of round-based version, if you're switching some old models over to Sigmar, or even if you're taking some old models, the old metal models, and putting them in the Slotta bases, invariably, if you've got a very short stance on those models, you end up having a big kind of gap appearing on either side. And if you're taking the fantasy models, obviously they don't fill up the gap as readily. And if you're taking some of these old guys here, I mean, you'd always just kind of muddle your way through it. I used to just blob PVA on it and then stamp it into my sand, fill this up, and then I would go on top. But it's just kind of time consuming. You got to wait for it to dry, and it makes a mess on your counter and all the other stuff that goes along with it. Other situations where you may want to fill a base is if you've got a 40 mil here and you've got a gap on here, whether it was one of the push fit kits that came in and you're putting in skulls or whatever, or if you're actually just got an old 40 mil kind of kicking around and you put a plastic model on and you don't need that peg in the bottom. This might be a good time to just use this method to fill it up as well. The other method, of course, is green stuff, which is fine, but green stuff is kind of pricey over time, and you got to wait for it to cure and all that. This is a much faster kind of way to do this. By the time you've gone through your squad of 10, you'll be ready to kind of start basing as you go forward. So what I've done, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take just regular paper and PVA actually, and I'm going to measure out, just about how far I need to kind of come out here, and I'll measure, this looks good, and then I will go in here and just kind of cut that piece in half, like that. Let's move these guys out of frame here so we can kind of focus in. And then I'm just going to just make sure that there's enough kind of room for it on there. It's a bit long, so I can go and just trim that a little bit. Oops, throwing stuff around in here. All right. And it is really funny because in your workspace you end up getting all these little paper filings. So just that's it right there. Dead simple. It should cover it all up. I'll take some PVA here. And I'll just put PVA on that outer edge, right? And you don't need a whole lot for this. And the benefit of this, of course, is that it dries super quick. Trying to pick up the paper might be the longest part of this process here. Okay, so I'll just tap that down like this. And you'll see it'll curl up as it gets wet. So I'll just keep tapping it down for a few seconds here. Kind of massaging that paper down. Now, it doesn't need to totally gap fill everything. What you're looking at doing is just reducing the amount of space that you have. But this is doing a pretty good job right here. Now, you can go back in and put PVA over top if you like, but I don't tend to bother. This actually absorbs enough of the PVA that it gets fairly firm, and then when I put my PVA and sand on, it'll bond to that PVA and the paper, but it won't go through that gap down there, so it won't make a mess on your work surface as you're kind of plugging along, and you get a nice even sand on top. You won't get kind of the little dips in there that you've seen before. So just like a cooking show, I've got a couple of ones that I've already got done here, and I mean, they work out pretty darn awesome. You can see again with this kind of running stance that you've got up here that it goes a long way to kind of filling up that space. It's dirt cheap. We're not using up our green stuff. We're not waiting on cure times, and this dries in about 10-15 minutes because it's thin paper. And you also get other things as well where you can actually see, I don't know if you can see this on the camera, but the base is sticking, or the slot here is sticking up a little bit, but you can just bend your paper around like a paper mache, and it makes a great basing surface for your basing material. So That's it. That's all. It's as easy as it is. By the time you've worked through, say, 10 guys, or 20 guys, or 30, or 100, whatever it is, the first ones will start to be dry. Probably around your 10th guy or so. Just throw on some TV and fire through them. So super simple. Anyways, that's it, guys. That's how I kind of gap fill my bases there. I hope you liked the video. If you got questions or have other methods that you prefer, leave them down in the comments below. But other than that, that's it for this one. Obviously, if you like the video, hit the like button. And if you're looking for more videos just like this and you're new here, consider jabbing that subscribe button and grab that little arrow on the right-hand side, and you'll get notifications of all our future videos. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. We'll catch you in the next video.